NXT TakeOver 30 is a big part of a big WWE SummerSlam Weekend. And this NXT Superstar is big time, nabbing a title shot in about 5 months since his NXT TV debut. Quite impressive, but make no mistake about it, he's been paying his dues wrestling the indies, wrestling in Mexico, wrestling for other companies since about 2014. Hey, a star on the rise, accompanied by the multi-talented Scarlett. He is someone you don't want to cross. He is NXT Superstar Karrion Kross. Thank you, Karrion. And that's where I'd like to start. How did you come up with the name Karrion? Any meaning behind it?
Well, thank you for that introduction. Karrion was basically a combination of ideas, a series of different directions from Greek mythology, the literal sense of the word Karrion, and a little bit of mythology from the Latin direction. There were a series of figures that a lot of people all around the world think were just the reincarnation of one character, which was the general idea of a ferryman who was carrying the souls from the land of the living to the land of the dead. And, very old languages, they carry on the same words through different languages, and they change the spelling and a little bit like that. So a little bit of mythology, a little bit of darkness, and we put our own little spin on it.
Is that something, mythology, astrology, and components like that, something that's always interested you?
Yeah, I've always been recreationally interested in reading about history, mythology, and stuff like that, learning about different cultures of the world. I think sometimes when you go back and you read about the world and the way it used to be, sometimes you can find something in all of that that you can apply to the present day.
Did you study history at all? Was that something that was very intriguing to you in school?
No, I can't say that I studied history beyond perhaps what the average person would, but I was definitely always interested in the History Channel growing up and learning about the greater details of what actually happened outside of the academic curriculums that are provided to the public education system.
More of a beyond or behind the tale, so to speak, more in depth in types of different reasons why things happen.
Yeah, definitely. The European migrational periods and stuff like that, the expansion of borders and, stuff like that, I always found really, really interesting.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Now, I know you mentioned History Channel, and did you do any reading as well, or was it more watching it through the internet and TV?
I had read books over time. Nothing really that I found within the books that was overly profound, rather than documentaries and stuff like that were on television. Being able to see footage and learning about different articles and stuff like that generals had wrote during war periods and stuff like that was also really cool. I also had an affinity to travel in my middle and late 20s as well. I had gone to Paris and gone to the castles and stuff like that there to learn about the French history period and all that stuff. I love that stuff. I love traveling and learning about new places.
Speaking of travel, now we're in a pandemic, but WWE is like the king of travel. So what is it like being there? What's it like being a part of the team?
I got to tell you, it's a dream come true. It's being able to be here and learn on a daily basis and work with the best and most interesting talents in the world. This has been something that I've wanted to do since I was a small child. It's very surreal to go from your living room watching a program your entire life, always, dreaming that you could be a part of that, and then suddenly one day you just get sucked through the TV, and now you're on the other side of the TV and you're able to talk and interact with these people that have been behind the glass, so to speak. It's pretty awesome. I have to say, I'm living out my dream right now, and I'm very grateful and very happy to be here.
Oh, when you were growing up, did you attend shows? Where did you watch the shows live, if not on TV? And who were some of your favorites?
I was born and raised in New York, and I had gone to Madison Square Gardens and the Civic Center, and I did attend the shows live. I was a bit of a different kid in terms of who were my favorites and who I liked. I was really captivated by the entire show. I can't say that Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, and Macho Man weren't my favorites growing up. Those were my top three, and nobody could get near those when I was a little kid. But as I got older and I started to train martial arts, I started to learn Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling and boxing, I had a different set of eyes, and I began to really appreciate the technical stuff aside from the character work that's involved with sports entertainment. So I began drifting towards guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. I really liked everybody, but I felt like as a kid, those were my guys. I was very captivated by those people.
And you're speaking of Shawn Michaels, what is it like at the WWE Performance Center? And he's there helping talent, helping everyone.
Oh, it's amazing to have access to him, someone who has worked during a time period. He's worked through so many different time periods in terms of varying competition and stuff like that. He's worked in front of so many different types of crowds all over the world. To have access to him and to learn from him, I feel like my education and my knowledge on what it is that we're doing has kind of expanded tenfold, just being able to talk to him and learn from him.
Karrion, that WWE Performance Center is like nothing else out there with the type of facility it is, the type of coaching that's there, resources. How amazed were you by it, or were you amazed by it just seeing it for the first time?
The Performance Center should be the place that everyone wants to be if you want to become a professional wrestler. You want to become a sports entertainer, you want to become a WWE superstar, that is the place that you want to go. You have the best minds in the business there, teaching people, you're learning from them. There are aspects of television and production that can't be emulated somewhere else for training that you can get there. The Performance Center is a total package. They have everything you could possibly need to find success in this, and it's a great pleasure to be there and have access to that as well. Prior to being at the Performance Center, I was training in like a very, very, very tiny, dark bank warehouse with no AC in Las Vegas in 97-degree weather. So I'm not complaining, but it was a different environment, and we had absolutely nothing. So I was used to working with less than the bare minimum. So to have such an abundance of things to improve myself with, it's incredible.
It's good to get the both sides of the world, too. So that's a really good experience coming up like that and then having to see this part of it as well. Were you into sports growing up? Where did you attend high school, and did you play high school sports?
I didn't really play too much high school sports because I was interested in wrestling, boxing, and mixed martial arts. And they didn't have that at the high school curriculums and stuff like that I was attending. So I wound up actually pursuing grappling and all that stuff outside of school. So at the end of school, people would go to football or hockey practice, and I would go to jiu-jitsu, or I would go to judo, or I would go to boxing. I attended high school actually in Toronto, Canada. And what was your other question?
Yeah, well, that was it. With playing sports in high school and just attending high school. Toronto, Canada, what was that experience like? How long were you in Toronto, in that area? That's a great wrestling area as well.
It definitely is. We had Rock and Hogan there. That was incredible.
Oh, did you get to go to that?
I did. It was amazing.
Whoa, well, yeah, what was that? Just the whole atmosphere, and then seeing that match and seeing those two work the crowd like that. Were you cheering for Rock, or were you cheering for Hogan?
That's a loaded question. Well, I was cheering for Hogan in the beginning, and then I started cheering for Rock. I went the other way. A lot of people, it started the reverse, but yeah, I thought it was amazing. I'll never forget that, the way the building felt and everything, the energy in the air. I mean, you can feel that. Anyone who's ever been to live sports before, you can feel that when the whole building comes up. It's really amazing. But yeah, Toronto was incredible. It's probably one of the most multicultural places that I've ever been to in my entire life. It's like the entire world living in one city. And again, you know, we were talking about history and traveling and stuff like that. I learned so much about the whole world just living in one city. It was amazing. Really, really cool place. Very progressive city in terms of technology and transportation and stuff like that. Some of the best food as well. Great people.
Oh, you got to mention the food then. What is your favorites there?
There is a street called the Danforth, and it's all Greek food. That is my go-to place. Lots of small businesses, mom and pop shop places that I like to support, and that's my spot. Massini's was the name of the place. That was my favorite place to eat in Toronto.
Did you find a spot in Central Florida yet for good Greek food?
I have not, which I'm very upset about, but I am looking very happily.
Oh man, well, hopefully you'll find something. It's very, with all the theme parks and all the tourists, it's somewhere, some way, hopefully you'll find something there.
I hope so. But, everything here in Orlando has actually been really great. I love the people here. I actually don't mind the rain. I find it very tranquil. And, the environment here suits me just fine. I love it here. So, aside from not finding my favorite Greek spot, the food here has been excellent as well.
Are you into meditation and yoga? Because you mentioned that about tranquility and the rain. And I'm just curious now if that's something also that you're into.
I actually am. I have relied a lot on meditation and yoga every single day, actually since the beginning of the pandemic. I know they say, in general, they want us to stay away from that. But if anything I'm about to say right now helps people to find some sort of inner peace, every single morning I get up and I'll open up the blinds in the house and I'll do yoga in the sun right in the living room. I just stretch out, I breathe. For anyone who's not familiar with it, it's just as easy as going on YouTube and finding a video for someone that can walk you through it. I found a lot of inner strength and patience and just getting my mind right. It's good for you,
Is that something down the road you'd like to do, whether it be through social media channels, discuss yoga, do something like that with others to help others, and or even history and Greek mythology and things like that? Is that something later on down the road that you might want to delve into?
I might be open to doing some sort of program about mythology and history, but in terms of the yoga, for me, it's more of just an immediate personal thing. I don't necessarily know if people want to see me doing yoga or taking them through yoga in the manner in which they know me now, presentation-wise.
That's why I said later on.
But yeah, I definitely encourage people to do it. And in terms of, creating and contributing to different programming and stuff like that, that would be something, I've always been open to something like that.
You have such a menacing look, and talking about that, you're a badass. And you mentioned about MMA, and reading about combat sports that I did a little bit on you, what I was able to find anyway. Was that the plan? Did you go to, two things here. Did you go to college? If you did, what did you study or get your degree in? And was MMA the plan?
So to be totally frank with you, I always wanted to attend university for neurology. That was something that I became interested in later into my teens. It's not something that I thought I always was interested in doing. Unfortunately, the time period was very, very competitive to get into those courses. So I wound up actually taking sort of a different path, and I got involved with studying psychology, sociology, and basically it was like a mediation courses. So they covered substance abuse, they covered power imbalances, human development, child development, and at a time I was actually interested in becoming a family mediator. This is many, many, many years ago. Basically sitting down with families and kids and working through stuff with them. That was something I was interested in doing. But I was interested in doing a lot of different work. The one thing that was always constant was I always wanted to be a WWE superstar. And there was just, I would say the reason that I waited so long to strongly pursue it was I just happened to be good at a lot of different things, because when I get involved with something, I put my heart into it. And like anything in life, like anyone, when you put your heart into work, you wind up getting results. And getting results is fun. It's addictive. It feels good to feel like you're getting progression. But the only thing that ever really provided me any sort of fulfillment in terms of an occupation has been this. And it's funny because I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid. And I tried everything I could to find some other form of work. Everybody told me I was crazy. But I had to do this. And I knew the first day I got in the ring that this was going to be it. And I said to myself, I don't know why I waited so long. I knew since I was a little kid that I should have did this. So.
And now you're doing it, and we have the big event, NXT TakeOver 30, Saturday on WWE Network, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, and pre-show 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. And you've got an NXT title shot against Keith Lee. What does that match mean to you? What does this event mean to you? This is amazing.
Well, this is the most important match of my career. I think that should be stated first and foremost. This is the match that could change the entire trajectory of everything that I've ever done. It could change the entire trajectory of NXT and a portion of the WWE universe between the three brands. Being here is how I view it, I have worked for since the very beginning. And TakeOver is the ultimate showcase for NXT. So being on TakeOver 30, being in the main event and having a title shot with Keith Lee, who, in my opinion, is probably the most dominant person that we've ever seen in NXT. This is everything to me. This is everything I've worked for. So this is a match you don't want to miss because history will be made.
And NXT TakeOver 30, of course, Scarlett will be by your side. What has she meant to you in terms of professional wrestling, sports entertainment, the business?
I think she is the business in that sense, where she brings what someone should bring to the screen. She has a presence. She has a magnetic aura. When she's on the television, people can't take their eyes off of her. And I've even said this before. This is the way she's kind of always been. She's always been a person that when she walks into a room, a lot of energy and eyes gravitate towards her. She's one of those types of people where when she's outside, she's walking around, before she became known on television, people would always ask her if she was famous. I've seen it, I've heard it, and I think that these are the types of people that are really important to have in the business. Those people that have those intangibles. You don't know what to call it, you don't know what it is, but it's those people where you kind of have to stop and take another look at them, and just out of curiosity, you want to ask them what they do for a living. She has that, and she's turned it up with this platform, and I'm very, very proud to be working next to her.
And wrapping this up, and thank you so much for the time. Karrion, for a big match like this, NXT TakeOver 30, such a huge event, to see where it's grown and what is just morphed with NXT, and on Wednesday nights on the USA Network, 8 p.m. Eastern, what has it been like? Do you do extra training or extra film study or anything like that when you're getting involved in a big match like this? Or is it just business as usual?
I am very militant and meticulous with my preparation in general for anything that I'm doing. So for me personally, I get up in the morning, like I told you, I'm stretching, I'm training, I'm eating, and then I come home and I study tape. And it might be my own tape that I watch, or it might be the tape of the opponent, but I look for errors in my work, I look for errors in his work, I look for my strengths subjectively, and then I look for his strengths, and I basically create a battle plan on how I'd like to go in and create a framework in my head of how I'm going to approach this. So I would treat it just like a professional fight. I got to think about what I need to do in order to get this person exactly where I need him to put him down. And that's the plan for TakeOver 30. I'm going to put him down, I'm going to keep him down, stand over him, hopefully be the NXT champion.
Well, there it is, NXT 30, NXT TakeOver 30 will be at Full Sail Live. It will be on WWE Network Saturday. It's an amazing event to see it during SummerSlam Weekend. And NXT always delivers, and so does Karrion Kross. And we look forward to the big match, and we look forward to NXT TakeOver 30 on Saturday, August 22nd. Thank you so much, Karrion.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.